Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Tesla. Y'all see Tesla closed at 334.07. We've made a pre-market high here of 345.88. And yes, we have. Tesla does what Tesla does. I say that so often. So there's going to be a gap to the downside because we're going to gap up. So at the open, there's going to be a gap. Let me say that. That does not mean we're going to fill that today. So where are the trouble places for Tesla as of now? You see here, something stopped us at that 345.88. And y'all know that's an area that we have marked here as a resistance area. So 346.29 could be a trouble place for us if we should break that. 346.84. Again, somewhere around the 347.50. Should we break that? 348.75. 349.37. Breaking that 350.02. Now, should we break that 350.02? I have 350.61, not far away, right? Breaking that 351.88 could be a rejection area for us. And if we should break that, somewhere around 353.02 or the 353.44 area, somewhere between there. Now, should we break that 353 area, we could very well come back. I have here at 355.83, and yes, something could stop us out in between here. So if you're trading Tesla to the upside, those are possible rejection areas. Now, back to the downside, we see here that price has been gathered in this area here. So that is where our 5 EMA is. I like to see that, right? So as of now, 342.69 could very well be our support area. Should we break that? 342.15, not far away. 341.60, again here at 340.85. Should we break that? Something stopped us here in this area. Price is just gathered here. We see that, right? So under, let's say 339.20, could be a support place for us. Should we break that level? 338.44, and breaking that brings us back to around 336.68. Now, if we should break that level, the ATR trailing stop and the 50 EMA as of now is around the 335.34. So breaking that brings us back to the 333.77, and again 332.58. Breaking that 331.52. So if you're trading Tesla today, those are kind of support areas and resistance areas. And y'all know I say so often in this market, anything is possible. Tesla does what it does. Should we break this 331.52, 329.42, 328.35, and then back here, let's say around the 325.36 area. So those are, again, support and resistance areas for Tesla. And I do realize that that chart is a little bit congested. That's because I've been looking at the SPY in Tesla for a very long time, and we're back in another congestion area. So we are now looking at the SPY. I'm going to see if I can make that a little bit visible. There we are. So we are looking at the SPY. We closed at 586.84. And as you can see, we're back in this area here again. So price is around a resistance area for us at that 588.63. Support is around the 588.13. Now, should we continue to the upside, we could possibly have trouble 588.92, 589.20. If we should break that level, I have 590.16. Yes, we can get stopped somewhere in between this area here, so be mindful of that. So beyond the 590.16, I have the next level of 590.89. Breaking that level, we could possibly find resistance or trouble around the 591.57. Should we break that area, we could possibly get rejected, 592.60. If we break the 592.60 for the SPY, 594.17 could be a rejection area. And y'all know I say in this market, anything is possible. So let's look back to the downside. Right now, that 5 EMA is holding us up at that 587.97 area, right? So this area is kind of going to be our support area. So back to the downside, we could very well come back to 587.59. Again here, 587.19 or 587.20. Breaking that level, we have 586.67. Under that, I'm going to use the 50 EMA as of now, 586.20, because there's a lot of areas here. And again, I look at support and resistance on a smaller scale, y'all, because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are, and these have been support places before. So should we break this area of 586.20, we could very well come back to 585.58, which is where that ATR trail and stop. I like to see that, y'all, right? So if we lose this area of support for the SPY, we could very well come back to around 585.29, breaking that to 585 even. Should we break that level? Somewhere around 584.62, 584.42, and again 584.12. Those are possible support places for the SPY as of now. So often I say it, y'all, in this market, anything is possible, right? So let's look at NVIDIA today just to see where we are. We closed at 129.93, and as you can see, we've made a pre-market high thus far, 134.25. There's some trouble in this area for some reason. We've tested it twice. So do we continue climbing? Y'all trade what you see. So where the trouble places for NVIDIA back to the upside. Let's see if I can get that again a little bit more. There we are. So if by chance we continue to the upside, as of now, we've been having trouble at this 134.03 area. If we should break that, we can come back to around 134.23. So let's say 134.25, which is this high. If we should break back beyond that area, then we could possibly have trouble again, 134.54. Again here at 134.91. Should we break that, 135.46, breaking that level 135.67. And if we should break that, 136.12 could be a rejection area. But as you can see, there's a few layers here that we could possibly find, trouble or resistance at that 136.14, 136.17, 136.42, 136.67, 136.99. All of those could be rejection areas for us. So there's a few layers. Let's see if I can get, yes. So all the way up to the 137.46. Now, if we break that 137.46, I have the next level at 138.46. So y'all know anything could happen from here to here in between that. So trade carefully if that's something that you trade. Again, not financial advice. Now, back to the downside, under the 132.89, we have, this is a support area. It was a resistance area for us. Now, should we break that level, we could very well come back to 132.29. Keep in mind that 20 EMA is around the 132.60 as of now. So should we break the 132.29 area, we can come back to around the 131.81. The ATR trail and stop is not very far away at the 131.66. In my opinion, that's going to be a strong support area for NVIDIA. So if that's something that you trade carefully. Should we break this support area of 131.66, we could very well come back to around the 131.18. Keep in mind, there's a few layers there down to the 130.92 that could possibly hold us up as a support. And should we break that, we can come back to the 50 EMA, which is right at an area that I had marked at 130.58. I just love to see that. So should we break that 130.57, 130.58 area, we could very well come back to the 129.96, 129.50, and again at the 129.01. So if you are trading NVIDIA today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside where we could possibly have trouble, right? So let's go to AMD today just to see where we are, and I do need to go back and change those colors out, right? So back to the upside, it looks like we closed at 112.46, 117.35 is our high, and as you can see, we've been there before, right? So where are the trouble places for AMD? Back to the upside, I have 118.25, 118.66, 119.03. Should we break that level, 120? If we break the 120 area, we have another area here, 120.64, 120.91, 121.12, and breaking that, 121.46. Those could possibly be areas of rejection or, resistance to the upside. Now, to the downside, our 5 EMA could it looks like we're just above the 5, so let's say that. Under 116.86, we can come back to around this level of 116.09. 116.09 could be a support place for us. Now, should we break that, you see the ATR trailing stop is here at 115.24. So breaking that level, there's a lot of layers here. I would say around the 114.83, again 114.61, 114.28, 113.83, breaking that level 113.40, and under that 112 or 113.01 could very well be our support area for AMD. Now, should we lose that area, we could very well come back to 112.01, again at 111.35, 111.05, and again 110.65. So if you are trading AMD today, those are possible areas of support and resistance, or I like to say trouble places, right? Where am I going to have trouble or possibly have trouble? Let's say that. So we are now looking at Meta. We closed at 656.03. We have made a pre-market high of 664. So it looks like, let's say, where are the trouble places? Back to the upside. To the upside, it seems like we could possibly have trouble 665.56 or 665.79, breaking that level 667.04, breaking that level 669.41. Should we break that level 673.42, and should we break that level, we could possibly have trouble 675.92 or 675.90. Could be a rejection area for Meta. Now breaking that, we could possibly have trouble again 681.46, and again here at 682.86, and breaking that 685.28. Now, where are the trouble places back to the downside for Meta? Right now, that 5 EMA is kind of going to be our holding place, and as you can see, that is our rejection area, 662.82. So back to the downside, if we break under the 661.46 as of now, we could possibly find support 659.89, 659.07, 657.64, and as you can see here, the ATR trailing stop is at that 650, 659. Breaking that brings us back to 655.22. Should we break that, 654.04, which is right kind of close to where that 50 EMA is. So we definitely need to be careful there if you're trading Meta. Again, not financial advice. If we break under that 654.04, we could very well find support 651.55, and under that 648.31. Should we break that level, we have support around the 642.60, and under that we could very well come back to around the 639. If we break the 639, we can come back to 635.49. So if Meta is something that you trade today, I say y'all trade carefully in this market. Anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. Let's look at Google today. Alphabet Inc. I think yesterday I did C. Let's do A today. Google Alphabet Inc. A. If by chance let's say this is our zone as of now, it looks like we closed at 159.80, 159.53, and it looks to be trading kind of like in a zone. I like to do this like, yes. So I'm going to show you how I just mark up my charts. Here I am going to what stopped us in this area here. As you can see, that's where most of the body of the candles fall on this line here. So this is going to be our support area. This is going to be our resistance area. We had a high on this candle, and we had some issues over in this area here. So as of now, Google Alphabet Inc. A support is around 159.95, resistance at around 160.60. Should we break that area, we could possibly have trouble again at the 161 area, which is a high here. We tried to reach that and we had trouble there, right? So if we break that 161, it looks like I have the next level at 162.44, 162.45. However, we could very well get stopped out in between that, you know. So again, that's another way to go back and make your charts or charting or helpful, you know, right? So back to the downside. Oh, let's continue to the upside. Should we break this area here of 162.45, I have the next level 162.76, and again here at 163.08. If we break that 163.08, let's see what we have next as resistance. 163.66 could be a trouble place. Now back to the downside, let's say if we get back under this level here of 159.95, we could very well find support somewhere around the 159.38, but keep in mind that 50 EMA is right there at the 159.65. 154. That could very well be support for us now, breaking those levels. I have the ATR trailing stop as of now at 159.33. In my opinion, that's going to be a strong support area. Should we break that 159.33 area for Google, we could very well, come back to somewhere around this level of 158.78. Breaking that brings us back to around the 158.61, not far away. Breaking that brings us back to around 158.31, and then we have the 200 EMA that we're going to use as a support area around the 158.14. So if you're trading Alphabet Inc. A, I would say these are your possible rejection areas or support places. Again, not financial advice. Y'all know there's so many different ways to trade the market, and what's challenging at times is trying to figure out what strategy works best for you. But what's really important is being able to identify your support and your resistance, or as I like to say, your trouble places, and making sure that you have your stop losses or whatever it is that you choose to use, having the discipline to execute that plan and making sure that you have a plan. Let's say that, right? So again, I hope that everyone having a very productive day today. If you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. Until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.